So let's take a closer look at this new law and its ramifications. We're joined by A.G. Gankarski, a journalist for FloridaPolitics.com. Good to see you again and welcome back to the show. So we know this is happening in at least 2 counties, as I mentioned. How pervasive, though, is removing books throughout the entire state of Florida?
Every county is dealing with the same issues here. If you look at what's happening in Duval, you're seeing books removed from classrooms. Manatee, you already mentioned, and every county's dealing with this. And you've seen over the last year or two with DeSantis a real movement toward regulating classrooms. The Stop Woke Act basically had a provision in it saying that things that offended people couldn't be taught. And that's a wide swath. The State Board of Education is increasingly conservative, a lot of Moms for Liberty influence. Here in Duval County, the Moms for Liberty and Republicans have taken a majority in the school board. DeSantis prioritized school board elections in 2022 as a way of, flipping these school boards in the cultural discourse, and it's happened. And you're seeing this happen in these classrooms and these book removals. The university level, same kind of things happening. The New College of South Florida, which is the only liberal arts college in the state-run liberal arts college rather, that's been taken over by a conservative board of trustees. They're looking to remove the president. They're looking to remove professors. So this is an onslaught on education as is traditionally understood. It's a way of kneecapping the unions. The 2022 race for governor saw Charlie Crist, DeSantis' opponent, nominate a union head as his lieutenant governor nominee. So that was a decisive election. And you're seeing here that elections have consequences. And that's probably unfortunate for Florida teachers and Florida students. But nothing is going to stop DeSantis from moving forward. And I would expect more of the same in this legislative session is starting soon.
A book that I remember reading when I was in school was Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury, of course. And maybe it's too on the nose in this particular case to reference that book. But Ray Bradbury himself said you don't have to burn books to destroy culture. You just have to get rid of them. So what has been the reaction from parents to the district removing books?
Parents are outraged. There's been protests throughout the state. In Melbourne, there was actually a Fahrenheit 451 style protest. So this is something where parents don't really like what's happening, except for the Moms from Liberty group. But what you're seeing with these book reviews is schools do not have enough media specialists. So if you've got something like a Toni Morrison book, a Kurt Vonnegut book, these books that deal with LGBT issues, anything that represents a marginalized population, they're on the chopping block. And because it is so understaffed, it takes forever to review these things. So you've got students in Florida who are not getting access to the same books that they get elsewhere. It's almost like Florida's got the population of California and the cultural politics of Mississippi. And this is something where if this keeps going as it looks like it's going to, you're going to see gaps between what Florida students can do and what students in the rest of the country can do. You've heard about the advanced placement class that DeSantis basically put the kibosh on. The African-American class, saying that it dealt with content that was inappropriate, such as Black queer studies and things having to do with basically anything post-MLK and the Civil Rights Movement. So, I mean, this is a multi-front cultural war that the DeSantis administration is fighting against the educational establishment.
And it's starting in elementary schools, as we're discussing now, so not even just high school or college and beyond. I mean, it's young children as well that's involved. So this isn't the only measure, though, that's having an impact on Florida's education system. You mentioned the Stop Woke Act. There's also the Parental Rights in Education Act. When we spoke with the teacher earlier, a teacher of 21 years, he said that he just recertified, so he has about 5 years on this certification, but he cannot see himself recertifying again after that and being a teacher in Florida. I mentioned third-degree felony charges if they have books on shelves that don't align with this new plan. What challenges are educators facing trying to navigate all these rules? I mean, the big question is who wants to sign up for that at this point?
Yeah, I mean, here in Duval County, that's why books are being removed, because the risk of a third-degree felony isn't worth it. In other places, books are being covered up. But, a teacher barely makes a living wage in the state, and in some counties, they don't make a living wage. So they've got no recourse to fight these things. The teacher unions have been kneecapped, and there's legislation to further erode the influence of teacher unions. So basically, you've taken what was a professional job decades ago, and you're turning it into something that is below that. And this is amid a cultural context where right-wing agitators are privileged. So it's really something where it's not just what's happening in the classrooms, but it's also what's happening in classrooms combined with the larger cultural context, which privileges right-wing influence over what traditionally drove public education to be as strong as it was in this country.
So this past weekend, former President Trump outlined his educational priorities for a potential second term. Here's what he's proposing.
We will cut federal funding for any school or program pushing critical race theory, gender ideology, or other inappropriate racial, sexual, or political content onto our children. We're not going to allow it to happen.
So the former president's proposals sound pretty similar to what DeSantis has implemented in Florida. But of course, now education has turned into a political football of sorts, as if students haven't been going to school pretty decently for the past hundreds of years here in America. So what effect could this all have on students when it becomes this center of the political fervor between these two GOP leaders?
Well, students will lose in the long term as long as the censorship keeps going. Because for students who especially are falling through the cracks, reading independently is the way that they make up for gaps in the school system. I know I did it as a kid myself. Most of my reading was what I actually learned, and I think it's true for a lot of these students. When I look at Donald Trump's proposals, I ask myself, why didn't he do this during the 4 years he was in office? And this is something that supporters of Ron DeSantis and other alternatives to Trump in the 2024 primary are asking. Donald Trump can talk this game, but in 2016, 2017, 2018, when Republicans controlled Congress, he didn't take any action here. And there hasn't been a lot of change. I mean, the texts that are being censored and thrown out of classrooms, by and large, were there 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. So you have to wonder how serious Donald Trump is, or if he's just, in the words of the Clash, jumping somebody else's train.
Good point. All right. A.G. Gankarski, political reporter from FloridaPolitics.com. As always, thanks for spending time with us. We appreciate it.
I appreciate it.